Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 3 of our F1 Manager 24 career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here at the Land Down Under for the Australian Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live on Saturday from the Jeddah Corniche, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. I just want to say as well, a massive thank you to everyone for the support so far on this series. Unfortunately, this is actually the last video I can do on this game for the time being. We're only allowed to record the opening 3 rounds of the season. So, obviously, when the full release comes out in, I think, what, 2 weeks' time now, then obviously we'll definitely be getting back on. Maybe, just maybe, if I ask Frontier really nicely, they'll let me play a little bit more of the game, obviously before the full release as well there. But yeah, Red Bull still at the top of the championship after winning, after Lando Norris, won last time out in the Jeddah Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. There you can see it was pretty close. Verstappen a decent recovery drive from 18th on the grid to still finish on the podium and beat his teammate in Sergio Perez. Take a look at the other championships. It was Gabriele Bortoleto that was able to win in Jeddah as well in Formula 2 with Isaac Hadjar and Ollie Behrman on the podium. And then if we take a look at the sprint race there, it was actually Isaac Hadjar on the top step ahead of Taylor Barnard and Paul Aaron. So yeah, we'll take a look obviously at their championship standings. Of course, there was no race from FIA Formula 3 that weekend. So currently then in the Drivers' Championship, Ollie Behrman and Bortoleto tied on 52 points apiece. Isaac Hadjar are now up to P3 ahead of Andrea Kimi Antonelli. And of course, yeah, in Formula 3 still, it is Kasper Sutka who is ahead of Dino Beganovic and Ollie Goethe as well there. So lots to watch for as you look further down the rosters as well then. But as we head towards this Grand Prix, we've actually got those first 2 big upgrades onto the car. So the underfloor and the chassis upgrades are finally going to arrive. So obviously what we need to do is make sure that obviously we get those fully fixed up, ready to go. We've also identified one of our affiliate drivers as possibly benefiting from quite a bit of further investment. I don't really think he's worthwhile. I don't really want to invest in like the AI characters, to be honest, on this game, just because I don't think it's as interesting. I'd rather wait for, you know, real F2 drivers, but obviously we pick them up when we move into the full game there. So we're going to leave that as he is for now and hopefully actually get that upgrade on the car I wanted. Of course, these videos are quite long, so if you obviously want to just go to certain points, timestamps will be linked down in the description below there. And yeah, now we need to try and manufacture a couple of these parts. So we've got how long before the Australian Grand Prix? We've got 9 days, so we're only going to be able to get one on the car anyway, so that'll be for Yuki Tsunoda. So we'll try and get a couple of those done. I believe, obviously, yeah, because Lawson damaged his chassis last time out, that we need to try and change and get him another one onto the car. I believe he's also picked up another few little bits of damage as well on the rear wing, underfloor, and suspension. So we will swap those. Why can't I swap those? Apparently I can't. Can I not swap those? Well, no idea what that's all about then, but apparently, yeah, I can't put that new part on the car just yet, so we're going to try and get those other designs completed then, as John Christensen, despite the fact I'm doing nothing with him, is going to gain another driver rating as well there. So now we're going to have to design up more of those side pods. Not side pods even, where was it? It was the chassis. So we'll get a few more of those ready to go as well. They're going to take 10 days each, so certainly no chance of having those ready to go. Ready for the Australian Grand Prix. So yeah, you can see we've got those little bits and pieces now working away behind the scenes. We need to develop more parts though, obviously. Now we've got all that time again ready with the engineers. So we're going to really try and do some front and rear wing upgrades as well. Then, as always, we're just going to try and make sure that we use half and half of our time as well for all of these parts, just to make sure that we make big gains in every step of the car as well. Then we'll keep it balanced, and we'll make sure, obviously, that we're using 5 of our engineers as well. And I haven't got enough money, so we're gonna have to scrap that. We're gonna need some more money down the line. Clearly, our Formula 1 team is still struggling very, very early on inside this game then. So let's head forward. I think it's time. I think we're ready for the Australian Grand Prix. Yeah, we're still manufacturing everything else.
Wonderful to be back down under for the Australian Grand Prix. We're a stone's throw from the beach here at the Albert Park circuit. It might be party mood in the grandstands, but in the paddock, expectations and tensions are high. Lando Norris delivered for his team in the last race and will head into this weekend with plenty of confidence. Can the Brit bring it home in this round too? Now let's crack on with the weekend.
Well, here we are then, back in Australia, and luckily, it looks like for the third race in a row, we're going to see sunny skies right throughout the Grand Prix venue. In terms then, yeah, of those parts, it seems that we can't really change anything still on the car at the moment, which is a little bit odd, so I guess we can only change those if they fail inspection, which is a little bit peculiar, but of course, yeah, we know the Albert Park circuit now is very, very high-speed orientated, so we're going to try and steer both the setups in that direction. Of course, what I'm going to slowly start doing as well is obviously just putting in lesser free practice, lesser qualifying, and obviously we'll focus more and more on the race. You know, I did appreciate obviously you guys saying you do quite like the longer videos in this series, but I don't want to make them sort of, you know, over an hour every single time. If we can get them, like I said, sort of around the 45 to 50-minute mark, then I would be quite happy. But yeah, obviously in these first 3 videos, I want to showcase to you guys as much content as I possibly can from this game then. So as both Yuki and Liam head out onto the track, obviously Yuki Tsunoda is using the new car parts as well. Obviously we managed to get one of those underfloors manufactured ready for the GP weekend. So hopefully we're going to see Yuki looking pretty strong then with those new parts, which hopefully, you know, he's already got a couple of tenths in the back pocket over Liam Lawson, who's actually upped himself to an 80 driver rating as we head into the weekend. Hopefully we're going to continue to sort of see them, you know, pushing each other further and further inside this game as well there. But yeah, I need to get better at race management. You guys have been telling me off in the comments I need to manage my battery better and things like that as well. So yeah, we'll make our way through free practice. We'll kind of see how we get the car set up. Well, neither driver able to provide me with all the information off of that 15-lap run plan. Obviously, lap times around here are, well, the shortest so far we've seen of the season. Albert Park now is, in terms of time, a very, very weirdly short track now inside the F1 game, just because obviously Sector 2 is basically entirely flat out there. Take a look at other drivers. It looks like Isaac Hajar once again is in that Red Bull. Drugovic is in the Aston Martin alongside Jack Crawford, interestingly. So Aston Martin opting for 2 juniors in the car. Teo Porsche getting the call up with Kick Sauber as well. Obviously Formula 2 have yet another race weekend here as well, so gives them a little bit of extra track time that maybe they could find useful as they head into the rest of the weekend with FIA Formula 2. Ricciardo as well, seemingly having some minor issues on that car. Not too sure if we can find out what that is. But yeah, as we get back then to the garage, how is Yuki looking? He's pretty happy with the braking stability, which I guess is good. Clearly not happy with the wing angle though, so just need to obviously make a few tweaks with that. And obviously, hopefully, we'll be able to send him back out on his way in the very near future as well there. We'll try and give him a little bit more wing, everything like that. Yuki seemingly a bit more happy. And then Liam Lawson as well then. We've done a pretty good job with both drivers, to be fair, so I'm happy with that. Both drivers then heading back to the pit lane. Again, yeah, we're just not quite getting the full amount of feedback from them, but I wanted to make sure that we definitely had enough time to get 2 decent run plans in. I mean, yeah, we haven't seen too many major surprises. I guess Haas looking pretty competitive. They're up in P9 with Kevin Magnussen. Of course, took their first points last weekend, despite some issues for his teammate Nico Hulkenberg. The only thing that's worrying me, yeah, is Yuki doesn't seem to be much quicker than Liam at the moment. He's only 2 tenths faster, which is pretty much the same gap as we've seen in the opening couple of rounds of the campaign as well there. So setup-wise, we actually look like we've taken Yuki a bit further away from where he wanted to be, which is not ideal. So we'll have to try and make sure that we get that all figured out. It's so difficult to try and find the balance in this game. You know, you've really got to try and work to get everything exactly where you need it, and that can be quite tough. We've got Yuki all figured out again then. We hopefully are going to see Liam into the pit lane as well. I'm trying to limit the amount of time I'm just sat there kind of staring gormlessly at sliders inside the game. I am planning on streaming a lot of this though, so if that is kind of your idea of entertainment, then yeah, definitely go check out some of the streams. They'll be here on YouTube, they'll be over on our Twitch channel as well. So again, we're really right on the limit of what we want to be able to do with the car here. So if we go like that, I think we're basically there, maybe? I think we're pretty much as close as we're going to be able to get them with Liam as well. So we'll get both cars figured out. We'll send them back out for a very quick run towards the end of free practice. And I think I'll see you guys in qualifying.
Hello and welcome to the much anticipated qualifying session.
These days, it's a much faster layout here at Albert Park, and teams need to focus on getting high and medium speed cornering right to set a good qualifying time.
Karoon, how do you think Logan Sargent's going to be feeling at the moment?
Looking at the lap times, we saw a real lack of pace from them in practice. They never looked quite comfortable with the setup, and they'll need to try something new for qualifying if they want to get past Q1.
Strap yourselves in. This is Formula One.
Well, here we are then taking a look as we get into free practice. What was the results from the end of FP3 then? Verstappen, he's seemingly fastest in every session we've done so far this weekend. Red Bull look like they've just got that little bit extra in the back pocket over everybody else. 14th for Yuki, though. He seems to be finding more pace in the car. Half a second clear of Liam Lawson there. As yes, Sargent, well, he should be happy he's even got a car this weekend. Because, of course, he didn't manage that in the real Australian Grand Prix. But yeah, set up ready to go. I think we've pretty much refined it as well as we can. Actually, Yuki really not happy still with what he's got underneath him at the moment. So we need to try and make some final tweaks to that. We can't really have a driver that's not feeling confident with the brakes, can we? Heading into the weekend. So we'll keep trying to alter that just a little bit more. If we go like that, and if we go like that, maybe, just maybe, we can get it where we need it. I don't know. We're just trying to really mess around with sliders at the moment still, which is clearly not my strong point. But I guess that's pretty good. I guess that's pretty much as where we can hope to be there. Most things are about perfect. We've got slightly more straight line speed, actually, than we'd ever really intended. So actually, if we go like that, then we're pretty bang on, actually. So yeah, we'll keep it with that. Lawson, I think, is a bit more comfortable with the car he's got underneath him. You can see a couple of optimals, a few greats, and a good there on the traction. So yeah, clearly just lacking that out and out last little bit. But if we go like that, then that's pretty much perfect inside this game. Hopefully that's going to be enough. Let's send them out then into Q1, and hopefully we can get a good run under our belts here. We're going to try and send them out pretty early into this first session. Obviously, they've both got 4 sets of soft compound tyres. We tried to avoid using the softs during free practice, just to obviously save them ready for qualifying and the race. Plus, I don't find it makes much difference in terms of the preparation as well. They're trying to stagger out the drivers just a little bit. But of course, yeah, Yuki Tsunoda is hopefully going to see himself into Q2 here. Liam, I think he's going to be more on the cusp. Of course, he sadly doesn't get a home Grand Prix. But I guess this is as close as it really gets. Am I going to upset Australians and New Zealanders, Kiwis, with that one? Maybe. Who knows? But anyway, Yuki Tsunoda then heading out onto his first run here in qualifying. We'll make sure we try and compare the split times between both him and Liam Lawson there. So, yeah, Yuki, I mean, the car, I would like to think it worked surprisingly well in Saudi Arabia last time out. So it'd be nice if it was able to do the same here. Get a good time on the board. If we can get Yuki through once again on one run. We were admittedly a little bit lucky with obviously Russell and Verstappen out in Q1 last time out because of those red flags that were caused by George. So I'm not quite expecting that same sort of luck here. It was quite a chaotic weekend in Jeddah, as you would come to expect. Australia, though, Albert Park, actually since this new layout, has delivered a lot of drama as well as... I mean, look at that. Verstappen, he was the only driver under a 1 minute 20 come the end of free practice. Charles Leclerc has done a 1:17.0 here early on in Q1. As a 26-0 and a 13-3, followed by a 26-3 and a 19-3 as well. So both drivers setting pretty decent and competitive times. As Tsunoda then up towards the line, it is going to be a 118, and he'll go quicker than Bottas then. So pretty happy with that. Hopefully Liam is going to be around Alex Albon then in terms of pace. I mean, look at that. We're only 100th off George Russell. That's a really good lap time by Yuki Tsunoda. So clearly emphasizing just how important it is to get the setup hooked up. Lawson will go quicker than Alex Albon as well there. That might genuinely be both drivers safely through, as Sainz made a bit of an error. What did Carlos do?
Oh, we've seen a few go off the track there. Perhaps a little lapse in concentration, maybe.
I think Ferrari need to sack him. That was disgusting. He needs to work on his driving. And why on earth did we get a message about that? Well, getting towards the end then of Q1, Liam Lawson's a little bit closer to the cutoff than I'd ideally like, so we're going to send him out for one final run. He's only got a 10th in the pocket over Ritomo Miata, who is right on the cusp there. I mean, Tsunoda's up in P10. He can actually be in the fight here for Q3 as Hamilton way down the order, so I'm sure we're going to see Lewis improve. He is the next car out behind Liam Lawson right now. It was a 26-3 first sector. That was basically where he lost all his time to Yuki, so hopefully we're going to see closer to a 26 flat. I think it was an improvement. Yeah, it was. 26-2 then, so Liam able to find a little bit more time here, but of course, yeah, he needs to go quicker than a couple of other drivers. It seems that it's basically only Yuki Tsunoda that stayed in the pit lane here, so we're clearly confident with Yuki that he's able to deliver the times he needs to and when he needs to. I still just feel, though, unless we get some miracles, it's going to be very, very difficult to kind of upset, you know, those top runners, although admittedly, we're only 11 thousandths behind George Russell so far. Green in Sector 1, green in Sector 2, though, for Liam Lawson at the moment, so hopefully we're going to see a bit of improvement by him as we've got one kick Sauber car down at the final corner. Hamilton's still on his run as well, so I think we've seen, yeah, Ritomo Miata just boost his way up the order ever so slightly. Yuki should be safely through. Liam Lawson, 18-2, does re-bump down Miata towards that drop zone. Hamilton will rocket up the order then, so we are safely through with both cars into Q2. It is going to be both Williams, both Alpines, Zhou Guanyu and Magnussen out in Q1. As, yeah, we just squeezed by there by just a 10th of a second. Unless we see any major cock-ups by the 5 big teams. Yeah, I'm not convinced we're going to make our way into Q3, though. It just seems like they've got those extra few tenths, even Aston Martin and Mercedes there. Both teams able to improve. George Russell on a last-ditch attempt I think it was about half a second he was able to put over Yuki come the end of Q1. And you can already see Oscar Piastri, the homeboy, Daniel Ricciardo as well, trying to get runs nice and early in Q2 there. I'm hoping Lawson's come out in a bit of clear air. Unfortunately, I've had to put him on a scrub set of tyres because he's only got one fresh set ready for the second session. So we obviously want to save that for when the grip is at its absolute highest, right towards the end. We're not meant to see any rain once again here. It's a bit of a shame we haven't had a changeable conditions race in kind of the 3 preview videos, but it has certainly still been good fun there as we'll try and compare sector times. Again, Yuki on a 26 flat. Liam, yeah, is really just struggling to match him through this first sector, and I'm sure this time around it probably won't be his best representative there. 26.4, so slightly down on where we would hope to be. Just obviously making sure, yeah, that neither driver is getting caught up in too much traffic here as the lap unfolds, as Yuki Tsunoda then in towards the final couple of corners. He has got that V-carb just in front of him that might provide a slipstream. Nope, he's going to dive back into the pit lane then. As through the final corner comes Yuki Tsunoda. We're hoping for, you know, a high 17, a low 18. And he's going to do a 118.0 then. So P6. Again, Russell really struggling on his first runs there. He's putting himself under a lot of pressure here as Lawson getting slowed up by one of the McLarens. Not too sure whether they're boxing back in. Yes, they are. So, yeah, that is surely got to be an illegal blocking here come the end of his run. 20.4, 19.4. Sector 1, Sector 2. He's almost a second away from Yuki in the end. And it is a 118.9, sorry, at the end of the first runs. But he's got a fresh set of tyres to go again. Tomo Miata showcasing some blistering pace at the moment, able to boost himself up into P9 there and put at least 3 tenths between himself and Daniel Ricciardo. Both our drivers in the drop zone at the moment. We're hoping for a big improvement from Liam, and hopefully we're going to see Tsunoda at least bump himself back up inside that top 10. Currently, neither Mercedes is safely through into Q3, but both of their cars are on a run, as Ricciardo now is just going to put a little bit of breathing room between himself and Valtteri Bottas as well. There, it gives himself a shot as we get towards the end of this second session there. As down on time for Yuki Tsunoda in Sector 1. This is not ideal at the moment. We really want to try and get one car back into Q3. There is Hulkenberg now. He's going to bump his way up inside that top 10. Ricciardo, he will not be in Q3. Ready for his home race. Oscar Piastri absolutely should be there, as Verstappen down on a 1:15.7. That is absolutely ridiculous by the Dutchman at the moment there, as Lawson's really struggling as well. So what on earth is happening here at the end of qualifying? I don't know whether the track temperature is dropping off. It's only 24 degrees. So I don't know whether it doesn't seem to be getting any cooler or anything like that. But both drivers really struggling here towards the end of qualifying, and we might not even see them improve towards the end of the session. Yeah, Yuki 2/10 down Sector 1, a 10th down in Sector 2 here, as he makes his way in towards the final couple of corners. I don't even think we're going to go quicker than Valtteri Bottas, as Russell is also out in Q2. Hamilton is out in Q2. No one able to improve right towards the end of qualifying here. Tsunoda, are we going to see him improve? No, we don't. Liam Lawson as well. He does improve, but it's still not enough. It is 13th and 16th on the grid here. The grip just fell away right towards the end of qualifying. There we go then, taking a look at the results for Verstappen. A 1:15.7 is absolutely insane around this circuit, but both Hulkenberg and Ritomo Miata able to make their way into Q3. I believe that, yeah, is the Japanese driver's first ever Q3 appearance in Formula 1. 36 thousandths of a second clear of his teammate Daniel Ricciardo there, so a really, really good effort done by him. But yeah, no one seemingly able to improve there. I mean, look at Merc. Both cars were at least a second slower than they were in Q1. So very, very peculiar come the end of the session there. But we are out. We've got a lot of work to do in the race. Maybe we can use those Mercedes to drag us further forward.
Well, the fans here are all set. Every one of them eagerly awaiting the 58 laps of today's race.
Albert Park often seems to set teammate against teammate. From Hill and Villeneuve dueling for the 1996 win, to Bottas beating fellow Mercedes driver and pole sitter Hamilton to the win in 2019.
The Albert Park circuit is bursting with rapid corners and a long straight where drivers can push their speed to the limits. Good attention to medium speed downforce will likely make beating this beast of a track just a little bit easier. It's race day with the teams and drivers ready and raring to go.
Well, here we are then. It is race day in the land down under. Albert Park plays host, 58 laps ahead of us. It really does feel like it is going to be a long afternoon, but a very high chance for safety car, so we'll have to wait and see as to how we get on. Both drivers wanting to opt for a two-stop strategy. It was probably the way to go in Jeddah. We did kind of, unfortunately, screw Liam Lawson over ever so slightly. You guys have been yelling at me, though, as well. Underfuel the car. Hopefully, it will allow you to get a slightly better start in these races. So we're going to go 3 laps under on Yuki, 2 laps under on Liam Lawson. I also don't really want him starting on the medium tyres if we can avoid it, so we'll opt for a soft hard medium and kind of maybe gain some data on how well the hards are able to go as well then. But yeah, both drivers feeling pretty confident in the car as well. Hopefully we're not going to lose that as we head into the race. We also want to make sure that they are using battery at the start of this one as well there, so hopefully we're actually going to make up some places at the start of a lap here. Is it using battery, or is that... No, that is definitely using the battery at the start of the race. Let's do this thing, though. We're ready for the Australian Grand Prix.
Final checks are being carried out by the teams, and it won't be long until we get this race underway. Many people here and at home are wondering what the Haas driver can do.
They'll be a bit frustrated to start in P18, but if they nail their race strategy, who knows what they can pull off.
And the time has come. Let's go racing. Brace yourselves for the Australian Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
Hoping for a good quick getaway with both drivers there, but of course we are sandwiching the Mercedes at the start of this one, so not convinced we're going to be able to make too much progress as we head down in towards someone there. Tsunoda immediately around the outside, though, of Nico Hülkenberg. In fact, he's actually going to have a look for a run on Lance Stroll as well. Just going to get a little bit boxed out, though, as we make our way down into turn 3 there. Miata and Ricciardo both making gains as well. So really, really good start. There's we've got a Hasselhoff. That's Hülkenberg. Hülkenberg out off into the gravel trap then, if I'm not mistaken. And I think he might have slowed up Liam Lawson in the process as well there. So a little bit of chaos off the start. Lawson, unfortunately, is actually going to drop down 3 places then on the first sector of this Grand Prix as Tsunoda able to actually gain 1 the other way around then. So a bit of chaos, a bit of drama early on. Unfortunately, we're not actually going to get a replay to take a look as to what happened there. Unfortunately, it looks like Hamilton might have been involved because he's dropped back behind Kevin Magnussen as well here. In terms of tyres, most drivers opting for the softs there. Bottas has done a really, really good getaway, though, considering he's on a set of the hard compound tyres, so he'll want to try and extend his stint deep into the afternoon as best as he can. There is already starting to see Yuki Tsunoda trying to attack his fellow countryman in Ritomo Miata down in towards the final couple of corners. He seems to be electric over 1 lap so far this year, but it is about managing things as you move into a race as well there. So we'll just bring it back down into the neutral then. So that really worked on lap 1. They're gaining a couple of places, putting a little bit of breathing room between ourselves and the Mercedes behind us. Nope, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to tell Tsunoda to try and go on the attack here on Ritomo. So hopefully we're going to try and boost him up into the points early on. I must admit, though, yeah, unless we get quite a lot of chaos for drivers further up the road, I think it's going to be very, very difficult to really try and score points here. I just can't help but feel that Mercedes are probably going to be able to carve their way through as the race goes on then. So Yuki Tsunoda out onto the back straight. He'll go once more. It's not really a straight around this circuit either, but hopefully he's going to be able to try and close in on that V-carb there as you navigate your way. I mean, look at the sparks flying off the back of that Visa Cash Out Racing Bull. Looks like Stroll already struggling to keep touch with a few cars in front of him there, as both Australians now in 7th and 8th place there. As look at Miata making the moves happen down the inside of Lance Stroll. A pretty cool, calm and collected move there. Able to use those back-to-back DRS zones. And hopefully we're going to see Yuki try and get in that fight as well. For Liam, on the other hand, it is just going to be about trying to settle in to the race early on. Staying out of trouble, making sure that he looks after the car, doesn't spin like we saw last time out as well. There is already a bit of a gap forming at the front of the field. Lando Norris going down the inside of Verstappen down at turn 1. And Lawson there making moves as Charles Leclerc. You can just see trying to wiggle around down the inside. Beautiful little move by Liam Lawson. We love to see it, so building up a little bit of confidence. Yeah, Crofty there as well, loving that one. Not sure Hülkenberg could have done a whole lot in that scenario, as here goes Charles Leclerc down the inside of Verstappen. So the Dutchman really struggling early on in this race are at the front of the field. Tsunoda still just tucked in behind Lance Stroll. I don't want him to start losing confidence too early, but he's very, very high on the confidence scale. So, oh, we got someone, I think Bottas there running into problems. He's going to lose a couple of places as well to Hamilton and Kevin Magnussen here. So lots going on early on in the race. Everybody just trying to settle down and stay in a good rhythm there, as that Stroll definitely seems to be lacking out-and-out pace against some of the other cars that are around him. He's not really able to attack Ritomo again as we make our way down into the final corner. As soon as I say that, down the inside, he's going to have a look. Are we going to see Yuki able to capitalize? No, he's going to be very, very patient in that moment then. So I think we'll try and go for a bit of a deploy at the final corner there. As you can already see, Ricciardo has dropped back away from Alonso, Sainz and Piastri. So it's time to try and make a bit of an impact here out of the final corner. To the outside of Miata, we're going to try and go. It'd be a bold move to do this back down towards turn 1. Late on the brakes, though, goes Yuki Tsunoda and Colleen around the outside and up into the points there. Maybe we can try and get a run on Sir Lance as well. Look at that. It's going to be a double overtake by by Yuki Tsunoda, sorry.
Yes.
Yuki very, very happy with that one. So fantastic little moves being made. And maybe now we can try and walk away from Stroll just a little bit more there as we've dropped out of the range slightly from Daniel Ricciardo. Just got to make sure that, you know, we balance out that battery usage. We try and stay in the DRS range of a lot of other cars as well here. Nice and early on, as you can just see, yeah, that gap, I think Stroll is probably going to be flying back past us very, very soon. You can see the Aston Martin just comes back into shot as we make our way down this chute. Obviously, it does narrow up quite a bit right towards the end of it there, but looks like, yeah, we're inside the range of the car in front there as Lawson seemingly getting his elbows out in a bit of a squabble with Logan Sargent just in front. Looks like Bottas has really fallen back into the clutches of these other cars there as well. We're going to see Stroll try and commit down the inside. Not a chance there, sonny boy. As, yeah, Russell now, you can already see, starting just to make a bit of an impact as well with this group of cars then. So I think, yeah, Russell just wanted to really focus on looking after the car early on in this race. Could we try and use him as well? Lance Stroll reporting a mechanical issue. Let's have a listen in. Okay, not too sure what K0 means, but Lance Stroll can't do it, apparently. So, yeah, that might be the Aston Martin there, just struggling a little bit more over the next few laps there. As, oh, Lord, Yuki just trying to defend a little bit in towards the final couple of corners. He's able to position that car pretty well at the moment, as Lawson making moves as well a little bit further back. Just a nice slipstream pass, as, oh, Sargent want to try and really squeeze him out, but unable to make the move happen there. And Lawson then back up into P16. So he seems to be just having that little bit of extra pace over a lot of the other back markers here early on. They are all on the softs. Softs or hards, weirdly, unless your name's Esteban Ocon, who is still carrying mechanical issues from the Bahrain Grand Prix. So that's still very, very peculiar that he is doing that. I guess we'll try. I mean, Lawson, yes, tucked up with Alex Albon then. So I guess we'll try and get those two to walk away from the rest of the cars behind. As here we go. Lawson immediately doesn't really want to wait around there. I'm at a P15 then, so he's actually recovered really nicely early on in this race and has moved his way back up towards the front of that back marker group, which is working quite nicely then. So we're just kind of settling into a rhythm, kind of seeing how the next few laps pan out. It looks like Russell and Stroll are really, really costing each other bags of time at this stage of the afternoon. As Lawson, yes, still just battling out there. There goes George Russell, though, annoyingly around the outside of Yuki. I mean, that was always going to happen at some point, wasn't it? But as long as we can try and keep with him. He's not happy. Yuki Tsunoda is really not happy early on in this race. But yeah, as long as he stays with George Russell over these next couple of laps, then maybe we can try and walk away from Stroll behind. I think he's still got the DRS, hasn't he? Off of the Mercedes? No, he hasn't. So he did lose the DRS temporarily there. I don't quite know where the detection point is. It's out of the corner, not going into it inside this game. So we have got to be a bit careful with that one then. As he seemingly is still quite happy with the tyres, though, at least, which is good. Tiny bit of vibration there. It was all down the inside. That was not what I was planning, but Tsunoda's going to do it anyway. Down the inside of George Russell once again then. I was just hoping you can try and keep up with him, Yuki. Never mind make the moves happen again. As hopefully Tsunoda and Russell can kind of work together to drag themselves closer to Daniel Ricciardo, who once again seems to be doing really, really good well with the front of this midfield group. Miata now making the move on Stroll. Maybe not quite there, down towards turn 1. As Yuki once again there will just try to sit back in. I've still got him on the overtake aggression, so we're going to try and just get him to sit in. Yeah, just sit in behind George over the next couple of laps here, as Lawson once again going to try and make a move on Alexander Albon. So we're seeing a lot of decent straight line speed actually out of the car at the moment. It's clean. That was a beautiful little move there around the outside of Alex Albon. He'll go, and he has got a lot of battery. So we're going to try and deploy that, get in the range of Kevin just up in front there. Or apparently not. We're just going to continue to drop further away from Kevin Magnussen in front as well there. It's really, really important, you know, a bit like F124, that you balance out the DRS usage and the battery usage as well as you possibly can there. As for whatever reason, we just cannot stay close to George Russell. Whenever he gets away, or whether he gets back in front there, he's clearly got a lot more pace in that car than we have at the moment. As here comes Alex Albon once again, gaining a bit of ground down in towards the final couple of corners. I'm hoping we're just about going to be able to have the gap there, as luckily, yeah, Miata and Stroll falling away, so a little bit further back is fantastic news there. So hopefully Yuki's going to be under less pressure as we are now on to lap 10. For whatever reason, though, Lawson just cannot get close enough to Kevin Magnussen here. I mean, he's not got DRS himself, so it's a little bit peculiar that he can't really seem to do anything about it at the moment. He just seems to be focused on Alex Albon behind him. We're well aware the car behind has DRS. We just need to try and get him away from that car behind a little bit more there. As I've got to be careful, though. I don't want to slowly drain the battery and then not have anything to defend ourselves with. But yeah, we're just settling in nicely at the moment. We're in a good little spot at this stage of the race. Stroll there just dropping back into the clutches of Hamilton, and now Hulkenberg reporting mechanical issues as well then. So not too sure on what is affecting either of those cars at the moment. Let's listen in. So Hulkenberg then.
Surely some kind of fault.
We don't really get an indicator as to what that fault might be. But yeah, Hulkenberg and Lance Stroll then really in the doldrums right now, as Hamilton and Miata maybe going to be battling. Not for long though. Hamilton's medium tyres are now starting to work in his favour just a little bit more at this stage of the day. I want to try and get this set to kind of past lap 15. It would probably be that Lawson has to box in one lap earlier than Yuki will need to here. So we can kind of get them to sort of 16, 17, and then kind of 34. Oh, we got a safety car. What's happened? We got a safety car immediately. As DRS has been disabled, it's obviously going to be time to box both cars onto a new set of tyres. As what on earth has happened then in this Grand Prix? Russell out of the race. So that gains us an extra spot. As what's happened to him? He's just in the middle of the road. I can only assume he's dropped it coming out of the chicane there. But George Russell again causing drama inside this series. And yeah, we need to make sure that Lawson gets into the pits as well then. So we're going to opt both drivers onto a set of the medium tyres then. Because it might be now that we have to go medium to the end of the afternoon. Hopefully we're going to get a nice, clean, tidy stop there. I think we're going to actually slow up Daniel Ricciardo as well, which is fantastic news for Yuki. Going to bring him a little bit closer. Not that it's going to make much difference. Annoyingly, in this game, the safety car doesn't actually come out onto the track. So even if you box on the lap or one lap later, you don't actually really get caught up, it looks like. So it's a bit of a shame there that you don't really gain anything from it. As Perez now to the front of the field. But yeah, everybody into the pit lane. Then Lawson, hopefully we can get a nice, clean, tidy stop as well. He's going to get a little bit held up. Come on, go, 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 go. Nico Hulkenberg there is going to stay out ahead of us, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, I think all of the front runners then are still going to be able to box and come out ahead, which is, yeah, rather frustrating. Because it basically just gives them all a free pit stop. But I will rejoin you guys then as the safety car comes in. Was it just Russell? I think it was only Russell that was affected by it. As, yeah, just the team there confirming that Russell is uninjured, everything like that. It's kind of screwed over Yuki, though, because it means everybody else is going to be able to bunch up back in. As, yeah, it is just Russell who is out of the GP. Safety car coming in then at the end of this lap. So we are going to be green flag racing once again. And yeah, with Russell out of the picture and Stroll with mechanical issues, this surely is going to lead a couple of extra drivers to potentially score some points. And maybe, just maybe, Yuki Tsunoda can be one of those drivers. It is Red Bull Ferrari at the front of the field then with both McLarens in P5 and P6. We really have got a decent three-way fight at the top of the table right now then. As Perez making his way through the final couple of corners, are we going to see the Mexican there try and be really strategic with the jump? He's actually going to go heading into the penultimate corner of the lap then. But it is green flag racing once again here. We've got 42 more laps to go here from Australia. You can see Sonoda, he's still got a little bit of fuel he needs to save. Lawson, though, is back in the green then, so that's really good news for him. But yeah, we just need to try and settle down into a rhythm early on, as already Yuki having to try and defend there. We're going to try and get Lawson on the aggressive side off of the restart as well. As we look at that, Miata down the outside. Hamilton wanted to try and have a look down the inside as well, but Yuki Tsunoda will hang on firm. He's got to go for it, though. You cannot afford to wait in and let these guys kind of attack too much off this restart. So I think we're actually going to have to take a bit of a gamble and get him to push as well. We're going to have to try and work these tyres quite a lot off this restart. As well as everyone else gone with then. So we've got quite a mixture between hards, mediums, and the soft. So I don't know whether the hard tyre runners are going to try and go to the end of the afternoon. I think, though, yeah, Yuki this time around, obviously no DRS enabled just yet. So he is going to hang on ahead of Miata. And Lawson then a bit further back as well, trying to hang on from Logan Sargent. We know how quick those Williams can be in a straight line as well here. But really having to try and work off of this restart quite hard. The tyre temperature not hanging on as well as we would have wanted. And yeah, you can see already Ricciardo, he's just able to keep up with that front-running group for a little while longer. Alonso kind of forms that buffer between kind of the big three teams and everybody else a little bit further behind. As Perro's new fast lap of the day into the 121. Still 6 seconds slower than we saw from Verstappen come the end of qualifying. But yeah, Miata there just dropping back ever so slightly from Yuki. Hopefully we can get him out over the second buffer by the time we get back round to the DRS window. It's up to 0.7 of a second. It's really ebbing and flowing right now. I think Miata as well is trying to work hard off of this restart here. Half second, 0.8 of a second. It just moves around so much when you're trying to settle and get into a good place here. As Hamilton's still applying pressure to him. 0.9, 1.1 seconds. Perfect. So maybe now we can go back down to the balanced fuel mode. Want to try and look after those tyres as well in the second half of this race. Are we going to see Miata then under pressure from Lewis Hamilton almost immediately? I'm not so worried about the Mercedes here if he's going to be able to get back past me. Just because obviously, yeah, we know they've got that a lot more pace than us in the car at the moment. As here we go, Hamilton trying to look around the outside of Miata. Lance Stroll just waiting in the wings as well. Yuki, sorry, yeah, has used all of the battery that we sensibly want to use at this stage of the day. So we'll bring both drivers back down into neutral there. And you can see immediately then a 3-second gap has been opened up. We've still got a tiny bit of battery in the back pocket. I don't want to try and harvest too much of it at the moment there. As Sainz now trying to look for a move around the outside of Checo Perez down at turn 1. But we've settled back in quite nicely here. Lawson as well, seemingly in a good little window there. Maybe he's going to be able to make a move on Nico Hülkenberg just up in front of him. So, I mean, look at this, Ricciardo. He's challenging Oscar Piastri in the McLaren as well there. So the Australian might not be with McLaren anymore, but seems to be able to fight with their cars at this stage of the race, as I'm sure we're going to see Hamilton close in on Tsunoda over the next couple of laps as well there. But as long as, yeah, Miata and Stroll keep tripping each other over, so we can just build up a bit of a buffer, I would be really, really happy with that there. As Stroll, yeah, reporting more and more mechanical issues. I think he's got big mechanical issues. Stroll there is dropping down the order at rather a rapid rate now. As Ocon, yep, he's still got problems as well. Hülkenberg, it's a battle of the two cars with damage at the moment. Bottas, they're almost into that incident as well. Lawson is just pulling away from it and trying to break free. I mean, yeah, look at this. We've got 8 seconds now over Kevin Magnussen, who is now at the bottom, who is just, outside of the point. So this is working really nicely, and now Ricciardo's dropped back as well from that group at the front. We really are just settling into a good rhythm here, and hopefully settling in to some point-scoring positions as well. I'm tempted to double medium with Yuki towards the end of the afternoon, and then maybe try and go softs with Liam Lawson there, although his tyre wear does still seem to be worse at this stage of the race. So we'll go back on the push mode with him, as Bottas now recording mechanical faults as well. So everyone is seemingly struggling with mechanical issues at this stage of the Grand Prix. That's really not good, yeah, for Valtteri Bottas then around this circuit. Mechanical gremlins and a 6th gear as well is probably quite a useful one, I would have thought, around this track as well then, as just now seeing Hamilton closing in on Tsunoda. So we're going to be really strategic as well and let Hamilton by, but also make sure, yeah, that he can drag us up to the next couple of cars in front. So, yeah, Yuki, we're going to try. Do we go aggressive? I don't really think we can go aggressive with him at the moment. I think we just need to settle in. Hamilton, yeah, he's on those harder tyres as well, if I'm not mistaken. So he's working them quite hard. But yeah, Ricciardo now in a bit of no man's land. Hamilton and ourselves in a little bit of no man's land as well. As we're starting to see other drivers into the pit lane. Hulkenberg going softs again. So he's going to have to box again before the end of this race. Albon is on hards, though, so he'll be going to the checkered flag. So I think we're going to have to try and do the same with Liam Lawson in a couple of laps' time there. Just not quite able to stretch out the tyres as far as he would want to. We have got that completely fresh set, though, of the hards to see him through to the checkered flag. Yeah, with Yuki, we want to try and go double medium towards the end of the afternoon there. But there's a big gaggle still fighting at the front of the field. And a bit of a gaggle as well, fighting at the rear of the field then. So kind of weird the way the gaps kind of open up inside this game. We've also got to remember with Yuki that we don't overspend the fuel either towards the end. There's also Sargent with a puncture. Haven't seen any of those so far in this game, but Logan Sargent then in the wars. And that tyre, I mean, it's going to go up at a pretty decent point for him on the lap right round towards the end of the circuit. And that's going to promote Liam Lawson then up into P13 here, who is surely about to pit pretty soon. Mayata as well just in front of him there, trying to defend for all his might. So, really looks like the car's actually come on strong towards the end of the afternoon here. We've been able to work our way through and have been able to stay out of trouble as best as possible. As here comes Lawson then into the pit lane. We'll sit in with him as he comes in for his pit stop. Here is, yeah, Stroll now reporting critical issues on that car. So, it is really not looking good for Lance Stroll, and maybe we'll see them have to retire the car before the end of the afternoon. But Liam Lawson onto the hard tyres then to the end of the afternoon. Pretty clean, tidy stop, actually a 2.5 second stop. As Stroll, yep, as soon as I say that, is out of the Grand Prix then. So Lance Stroll out of it. Sargent is going around with a puncture for some reason. So I'm not really sure what Sargent's trying to do at this stage of the day. It doesn't seem to be costing him too much time. What on earth is that? Sargent is driving around with a puncture inside F1 Manager 24, which is rather peculiar then, as we're starting to see more of our front runners into the pits. But Liam Lawson then, he's out towards the end of the race. Sonoda, I want to try and make sure he doesn't come out in too much traffic either, so I'm going to wait for a couple more cars further behind to peel into the pit lane there. It's just got to make sure, once again, that we don't overspend on the fuel. We'll try and bring Yuki in with 20 laps to go of this race. There is yet Ricciardo. Is Ricciardo boxed again? He must have done to be, yeah, out behind Yuki. But Ricciardo's on soft tyres, so surely again, he's going to be really, really struggling towards the end of the race here. So this, we haven't got another set of mediums. That's a real shame. So we'll go with a set of softs. We'll box him in at the end of next lap there. So, yeah, unfortunately, unless Ricciardo has to pit again, I don't think we're going to be able to make the impact there in the way we would have wanted to. Lawson is just in a bit of no man's land. He's still watching as Sargent drives around with that puncture behind. I think it's just a graphical bug, though, because Sargent's definitely boxed since that puncture occurred now. So I think, yeah, it's just a bit of a weird bug. So, yeah, we've got 2 retirements from the Grand Prix. We might see another one before the end of the afternoon there. Hulkenberg, yeah, definitely struggling on that set of tyres. As, yeah, Yuki into the pit lane at the end of next lap. So he's going to have 18 laps to go then on that set of tyres. His name's Zhou Guan Yu with mechanical faults. So it is all kicking off here in Albert Park. He reckons he's got no straight line speed there. Still able to go down the inside of Liam Lawson, though, in the process. As Sonoda into the pit lane. He's already come through the pit lane then, so we accidentally simmed through that one as well. It's all getting a little bit chaotic to try and keep up with towards the end of the afternoon, but he's got the gap still over Alex Albon, and hopefully we're going to be able to hang on with that gap towards the end of the Grand Prix as well there. Lawson has just got a train of cars behind him towards the end of this, so I think we can afford to go a bit more aggressive on his attacking. We're going to try and make sure that he burns off some of that spare fuel. There's no point holding on to it towards the end of the afternoon as well here, but monitoring that gap between Yuki and Alex Albon just behind him. I don't want to once again get snookered away. Is Miata now with a puncture? What is happening here in Albert Park? Ratomo Miata was having such a good Grand Prix weekend, but it all seems to be turning to nothing right towards the end of the afternoon there. I mean, all of this drama is working fantastically well for Liam Lawson, who is just kind of sitting pretty and claiming all of the places at the moment. Yes, now we can see Tsunoda pulling away. Perez is with a puncture. How many punctures are we going to get in this race there? Sergio Perez, he's going to slow up his teammate Max Verstappen in the process, try and get out of the way of him. So something must be happening here in Albert Park for all of these punctures to be occurring towards the end of the afternoon. I think Perez, yeah, so it's definitely a graphical bug then. The AI get a puncture, and then it looks like they run with it to the end of the afternoon. Lawson now pulling away from Esteban Ocon a bit further behind. So that is good news as well then for Liam here late on in the day. But surely Yuki Tsunoda is safe, and he's going to be able to pick up some points here. He can't get a puncture inside the final few laps, as we had yellows out temporarily for someone else a bit further back as well. Magnussen locking up down at turn 3. There's Ocon into the pit lane as well then. I mean, this has got to be the most chaotic race I've ever had in this game, as Magnussen just running wide. He's going to do a little bit of lawn mowing there for the Melbourne government, so I'm sure they're quite happy to get that one there. Ocon now as well with a puncture. Everyone is getting one towards the end of the afternoon. I can't even be shocked anymore. That's got to be, what, the 6th puncture we've seen? Let's look at that. You can see, because Sargent's already had one, he's sat behind him with what looks like a puncture, but actually isn't, towards the end of the race there. But I think both of our drivers now starting to look a little bit safe towards the end of the afternoon. Verstappen has been able to work his way into a bit more safety as well before this race is done and dusted there. But as we make our way then into the final 10 laps of this Grand Prix, we're just trying to nurse the tyres now, make sure we get both cars through to the checkered flag there. It looks like, yeah, Verstappen is once again going to claim victory here, but I say that Lando Norris is closing in right towards the end of the race there. Yuki, now we've got him up into the green. Bottas is recording more mechanical faults as well. I mean, look at this. Yep, we got more mechanical issues for Bottas. He might have regained 6th and now lost it once again. We've just got a battle at the rear of the field of punctures and mechanical issues. As what on earth is going on? I'm so happy we've been able to get both cars away from this, because I would not have wanted Liam Lawson to try and fight his way through this just absolute gaggle of chaos towards the end of the race here. Doesn't look like he's got the pace, though, to close into Hamilton or Ricciardo towards the end of the afternoon, which is a shame for us, because it means, yeah, VCarb are once again going to score decent points towards the end of the race. Then Norris now looks like he's going to be fighting he's actually got a 3-way fight for the lead of the race right towards the end here. So Verstappen even struggling just a little bit more with his tyres towards the checkered flag there. But are we going to see, with just 3 laps to go, Lando Norris try and make a move on our race leader? Are we going to see Tsunoda go 1 lap down? Yes, we are. So gives him a little bit less distance to try and recover between now and the end of the GP there. But Verstappen, he's desperately trying to hang on. He's throwing sparks at Lando Norris behind him there. But here comes Lando. It's a battle between who can get their 2nd win of the year and really prove themselves as the championship threat. And Lando Norris clean around the outside. He's not got much extra tyre life at the moment, but it is enough there that he's able to swoop back through and into the lead of the Grand Prix. Are we going to see Verstappen, though, able to make something happen once again here as we make our way down the back straight? Look at that, Norris getting the elbows out, defending for all his worth there. But surely the Dutchman with the DRS is going to try and have a look out of the chicane here. We've got late race drama, and luckily it is affecting neither of our cars, as here comes Verstappen again to the outside, to the inside. Look at how much Lando's defending for it. Here comes Charles Leclerc trying to have a look around the outside of Verstappen as well then, down in towards the final couple of turns. 2 laps to go here from Albert Park, and we have got 3 drivers from 3 different teams fighting for the Grand Prix victory there, as Verstappen once again this time round down the inside at turn 1. Surely this is just going to end up being a battle of who's in 2nd place into the final lap of the Grand Prix there, as we got to make sure that Yuki gets out of the way of all these other drivers as well. He's actually helping Max Verstappen out at the moment there, as I think, yeah, Lando Norris maybe just has dropped back out of the range of Verstappen here. He has, so Verstappen, that blue flag has worked out beautifully for the Dutchman there, that is able to pull away just that little bit more. Hulkenberg now with a serious mechanical issue, so he might retire before the end of the race. Reporting gearbox drama towards the end for Hulkenberg there. But yeah, Verstappen now, I mean, look behind him. He's got free track space ahead of Norris and Charles Leclerc, unless he got a puncture or something like that with 1 lap to go. Here comes Leclerc now, down the outside of Lando Norris. I mean, Yuki Tsunoda's trying to get involved in this. Tsunoda with the best seat in the house as he watches these guys battle right towards the end of the race. Hulkenberg is going to be our 3rd retirement of the afternoon. Lawson, I think, now might actually be with... No, he's nowhere near Kevin Magnussen towards the end of the race. It's actually Lance Stroll that I believe has got a lap down on him as well. So, no, sorry, it's Fernando Alonso, isn't it, in the 2nd of the Aston Martins here. But Norris, he seems to have fallen away from Max Verstappen then as we start the final lap of this Grand Prix. Yuki Tsunoda, though, is looking like he's going to rewrite the wrongs of last weekend there. We were unable to score points in Jeddah. We were robbed by George Russell in the final lap of the Grand Prix. We're going to get our redemption, though, here today, and I was really hoping, you know, like I said, we're only able to do 3 kind of early preview videos of this game. I was praying that we were going to be able to score a point in the last one of them. Norris, though, he's closed back in on Verstappen again here. Are we going to see another last lap battle for the Grand Prix victory here? Surely he's going to be able to get the DRS out of the fast chicane here as Lando Norris tucks into the wheel tracks once again of Max Verstappen. He's going to have a look to the left. He's going to have a look to the right. Are we going to see Verstappen try and defend it? Yes, he is. He gets the elbows out. Charles Leclerc watching in the wings, waiting for an opportunity here in towards the final couple of corners. Albert Park has played host to some very close Grand Prix in the past. Are we going to see Norris, though, get the run out of the final corner on Max Verstappen? Has he saved enough battery? I don't think he has. It is going to be less than a second covering our top 3 come the checkered flag there. But Yuki Tsunoda, it is going to be the first ever point for 212 Motorsport here in F1 Manager. We absolutely love to see it come the checkered flag there. Max Verstappen is going to win the Australian Grand Prix and further extend his lead at the top of the table there. Yuki Tsunoda, what a drive that is, though. It wasn't just a point. He was 25 seconds clear of Alex Albon behind him as well there. And I think, yeah, had Lawson had a little bit more luck early on as well, he could have ended up P11 or P12 here. Through the final corner, though, I believe that's a best race result for Liam Lawson as well. Good results all around for the team. P10 and P13 here in Albert Park, Australia. I don't think we can complain about that.
As always, there will be lots to talk about after that race, including the performance from the driver currently on our screens.
And with a 13th place finish, that sadly means there's no points to be claimed.
And no doubt, Verstappen fans will be celebrating the Dutchman's achievement.
That's their 2nd win of the season. A brilliant talent who looks so at home on the track.
Well, it wasn't exactly a walk in the park, but it was a thrilling weekend here for us all at the Australian Grand Prix. Well, Karun, how do you think they'll be feeling in the team garage at the end of that?
It was a strangely mixed weekend for them. We saw one driver put in a strong performance, but it was a different story for the other. Definitely positives there, though.
And that's about that for this weekend here in Melbourne.
Next round will see us head east as F1 prepares for the Japanese Grand Prix. We'll see you at Suzuka, a firm favourite for the drivers.
Well, there we are then. Really, really happy with that result. Like I said, you know, we can only do 3 of these videos on the preview build of F1 Manager. And I'm happy that we were able to bag a point in the very last one of them there. Max Verstappen takes his 2nd race victory of the year ahead of Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc. Oscar Piastri, a decent home race, lacked the ultimate pace there to fight for the podium, but he still was able to beat out Perez and Carlos Sainz there with Alonso, Ricardo, Hamilton, and Yuki Tsunoda. P10 for 212 Motorsports. I cannot believe we've scored a point as early as we have inside this game. Really, really happy with that there. Lawson, like we said, a decent drive by him as well, gaining 3 places to P13 there, and chaos all weekend. Russell, Stroll, and Nico Hulkenberg all out come the checkered flag. That means in terms of the Drivers' Championship, Verstappen now opens up a 10-point lead over Lando Norris. Charles Leclerc, though, he's just very consistent. He's up to P3, and I think he's had 3 P3s. Oh, no, it was a 4th and a 2nd, wasn't it, so far this year there. Perez in 4th ahead of Piastri and Sainz there with Alonso, Hamilton, Ricciardo, Russell, Stroll, and, yep, Yuki Tsunoda with a point on the board there. Constructors-wise, we are 7th place then, still behind VCarb, unfortunately. I thought Haas had scored a point so far this year, but I must have been wrong about that one there. It was just VCarb that obviously got that 9th place in Jeddah as well. But thank you all so much for watching. Like I said, it's probably going to be a couple of weeks before we're able to play any more of this game, but a massive thank you to all of you for the support so far on this series. We're very close to 2k subs, so make sure you drop a sub if you're new as well. But yeah, we'll be back very soon with F1 Manager. Apparently as well, I might lose this save, so we might be out next time in Japan. We might have to go back to Bahrain. Only time will tell, but either way, I'm definitely going to be playing a lot more of this game.